Hey everybody, welcome to Samasta TV, where we interview some of the most awesome people in the world, where they have become experts at whatever they do, overcoming hardships, illness, and helping others do the same. So today we have with us Robert Butler, who's overcome amazing hardships and now is just in a different path, in an awesome path, and a great journey. And we're so happy that you're here with us. Robert overcome some hard things that he's gonna share with us about, and so we're just glad that you're here, Robert. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
All right, great, man. And so, hey, Robert, tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Well, I'm a recovering addict, an IV, meth and heroin user. I have been sober, clean and sober for 17, almost 18 months now. I've been through the worst of the worst, and now I'm doing whatever I can to help people live better, healthier lives, and just show the world that there's a chance that anybody can make a change if they want to.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And Robert, and so what is it that you want to accomplish?
Well, what I want to do is I want to show people that there is hope out there, because people who face addictions and adversities in their life, they don't feel like there is hope out there. But I want to be an example and show that there is living proof out there and that it can be, accomplished.
For sure, man, for sure. And when you started doing this, when you had this goal at the beginning, what was one of the biggest walls that you hit, or one of the first obstacles that you hit?
My biggest obstacle is myself. I felt like I was weak and I didn't feel like I had the strength or the willpower to do it. And to be honest, I couldn't do it at the time. I was afraid. I was scared. I had no hope. That was my biggest obstacle, is I had no hope.
Wow, bro. And then, when you hit that wall, what was one of the first epiphanies or one of the first realizations that you came about that around that time?
Well, it came down to I hit rock bottom. And when I hit rock bottom, I mean, I probably was below the rock bottom. I lost my family. They left me because of my drug abuse. I wasn't working. I weighed 130 pounds. I was sick. I was tired all the time. And I got fed up. I was tired of it. I couldn't do it anymore.
Wow, man. I seen pictures of you. I saw the picture of you that you posted before, and was that around that time where you were at the rock bottom time, or you?
Yes. Yep, that was probably taken just a few months before things changed.
Wow, man. And tell us, what was going on like, when was the moment that you were like, was there something? I'm sure there was so many things, but was there something that you can kind of think about where you were like, shit, this gotta stop?
Well, I'll be honest, because I don't have anything to hide about my history. I was charged with a forgery and criminal mischief and interference with official acts. And I went to jail. And when I went to jail, they said that they were going to release me and let me go on probation. And at that time, I knew that I was going to get high again if they let me go. So I made the decision myself in court to go to prison.
Wow. And was that one of the big designing? And I guess you were thinking at that time, like, so I guess you had to be pretty bad in the outside for you to be like, I'm safer inside.
Yeah.
For myself.
Yeah, because I knew that I knew I wouldn't be able to succeed. I needed time. That's what my biggest thing was, is I needed time. I needed to get away from everything. And I knew that my body and my mind needed to heal. And that was the only way for me, aside from death, that I was going to be able to fix myself. So when I was in court, I told the judge, I said, I don't want to be released. I want to go to prison.
What did the judge say?
The judge was very surprised. And they asked me multiple times if I was sure if that's what I wanted to do. And I said, yes.
Wow, that's what you needed, man. That's what you needed, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, man. And then tell me how you were feeling. What was going through your mind when you're being, either you're walking or you're being bussed in, or so after court, like what happened? After
Well, after
something like
court,
that, what happens when the judge?
well, after court, I went back to my jail cell, and I felt good about my decision.
Wow.
I did. I felt like it was the right thing to do, because I was making sure that I wasn't going to go out and get high again. Because at that time, I didn't have any time away from the drugs, and I just wanted to be away from them.
That's great, man. I heard from yeah, I think it's Oprah that says, when she took the decisions of creating her new network, and hard, like it's crazy, man, that you never think about a lot of us can have so many hard times, whatever level we're at. But she was saying that wherever you feel peace with the decision, that is the right decision, be it as
Yeah,
hard as it is, huh?
yeah, and I felt peace. I did, because I knew
Wow.
I could make it. I knew that was the stage I was building for the rest of my life, right there.
That's so cool, man. That's so inspiring, man. That is so inspiring. That is awesome. That is awesome.
But I will say though, at no time was it ever easy.
Right.
It was never easy. For every day I spent incarcerated, it was a challenge,
Yeah.
because I had to think physically and mentally of where I was going to be, what I wanted in my life, and how I was going to accomplish those goals.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I can't imagine being yeah, being, I mean, it's got to be hard. Me myself, I went through stuff like this, man. I was pulled over, and I went to jail for driving under the influence, and I would say that, yeah, it's not easy, man. It's some of the darkest moments when you're looking in the mirror and you're just um realizing that you got to build something different, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. And and then and then what happens after that? They sent you to another jail, or from the courthouse to another facility, or?
From the jail, I was put in a correctional facility. Yes.
Gotcha, man. And how was the day-to-day thing? I mean, hard as hell. What were you doing in that time? Like, what were you doing psychologically, physically, habitual? Like, what type of things were you getting into to build that state, like you were saying, man?
Well, I I I knew I needed to heal, and I I always liked exercise. I always liked physical activity, and I like to learn new things. So I immediately, when I got to prison, I started working out. I started exercising. I started doing cardio. I started doing bodybuilding, powerlifting, stuff like that. And I would work out 4 to 6 hours a day,
Huh.
every
Right,
day,
right,
every single day I would.
right, right.
And for the rest of the day, if I wasn't working out, I was studying fitness, nutrition, muscle development, just trying to gain knowledge and something that I knew would benefit myself and other people.
That's awesome, man. And at that time, what was the plan that you were crafting? Were you crafting a plan at that time?
In the beginning, I didn't have a plan, because I was, and I put it this way, I was being selfish, because I knew I had to be selfish for myself. I had to think
Yeah.
about myself
Right.
because I knew I needed to make myself better. But as time went on and the months started to pass, I started coming to the realization that I could take what I know and what I'm doing to make myself better, and I can help people. I can teach people and show people that, and they can better themselves too.
Right. 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 And you're so right, man. That's one of the biggest things to like to take care of ourselves, because an empty glass can't give anyone any more water. You know what I mean? So that's and you know the heart when it pumps, that's the first arteries that it goes to is to feed itself.
Yep.
You know, if it's not feeding itself, if we're not feeding ourselves with good stuff, you know, we can't really help anybody else, man. So that's so cool, man. And so really like the plan was really just to like make it through every day as healthy as you could be yourself in a way, right? And then
Yep.
it kind of developed into how can I use this for others?
Yeah, because I mean, when I was there, you know, yeah, one of the things that I realized that'll help keep me sober and keep me on the right path is like really staying positive, you know, and showing people that positivity and showing people that change. It really helps keep somebody, you know, it gives a sense of accountability and purpose. And and for anybody who's facing an addiction, they need purpose. If you don't feel like you have a need or anything like that, it can be kind of detrimental to some people. So I just, you know, like with all my Facebook videos and my posts and stuff like that, I'm always showing, because everybody needs a little encouragement. You know, you can't do everything alone,
Right.
but I mean, there's some stuff you can do alone, but you can't do everything by yourself.
Right. Right. Yeah, you cannot, man. You cannot build, you know, Rome and you know the I mean all these big structures they would never build by one person. You know, you can't do it alone.
No, that's right.
Right. And when you say possibility, you know, of course positivity. That word is thrown around. We throw it around. What does that mean to you, man? When you say, you know, staying positive, what the hell does that mean?
To me, staying positive is it's a mindset. It's something that it can be hard at first. It really can to just to be positive, but it's so much easier to be positive than it is to be negative. You know, for me to be positive, you don't let any frivolous things get to you. You don't let people, you know, you don't let the negative stuff that you see in the world affect you. And it's way easier to negotiate with somebody. It's way easier to get along with somebody if you're just positive. You can completely, you know, they got that saying, kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard. It's really hard for somebody to keep arguing with you if you're complimenting them, if you're telling them nice things, if
Right.
you're doing all kinds of stuff that, I mean, they're really not expecting, because
Yeah.
misery loves company,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can kill it with kindness very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. And then when you're creating this plan, or when you start, let's say that when you started working out and everything, or when you started like doing all these things in jail, what was one of the obstacles that you experienced there?
Um, well, in prison, drug access is pretty easy. It's easy to get drugs in prison. It's a lot easier than it is out in society, because you know in prisons they're their own community. It really is. And yes, there's drugs here and there, and that, I mean, that's kind of an obstacle because they can be a temptation. And you know there's people that try and, you know, influence stuff like that, or try and pressure people into doing it, because it's it's the way it is. I mean, prison is full of criminals, It's full of there's a lot of people that don't want to change. And I was in a prison with 1,200 people, and probably maybe 100 of them actually wanted to make a change with their lives.
Yeah. Shit. Isn't that something, man?
Yeah.
It's like when people, you know, because a lot of my purpose is to make people realize the same thing. You know, there is hope if they wanna like overcome diabetes, if they wanna overcome addictions, if they wanna overcome a lot of problems. But even in the hospital, when they hit rock bottom, because when people end up in the hospital, only about out of 100, maybe 10 wanna change something about their lives or their life habits. And learning that was hard because you want to help everybody, but not everybody's willing to go because it's not easy either. You know, it's like running a marathon. You know, it's not easy either, right? What you went through.
Marathons are pretty hard, I'm going to tell you that.
But that's so cool that like even there, so it's like when you say, and so how did you overcome that issue in prison?
um the one thing that made me overcome that is that I didn't want to be anything like I used to be at all. And I wanted to make a change. That's, I mean, that's really what it boils down to, is that I wanted to be something above and beyond anything that I've ever been.
That's awesome, man. And then and so when people would offer you and uh you know yeah, I mean when those temptations came even within prison, what did you use or how did you approach that? How did you overcome that?
Um, well, I kind of used a technique that I think I developed. I don't know. Some people might use it. There's people that can say no and walk away to drugs, or walk away from drugs. There's people that can, you know, be very nonchalant about it and say no, no, thank you, stuff like that. I kind of had to take an aggressive approach to the situation, you know. And if somebody would ask me if I wanted to get high or anything like that, I would get very defensive about it.
Gotcha, bro.
I would, because it's just, if it, to me, if something works for you to keep you away from getting high or using drugs, do it.
Yeah.
100% do it, because, you know, some people just can't say no. Some people, like, I've had to get rid of everybody I used to know. I don't talk to anymore.
Right. Right.
But with that, the friends that I thought I had aren't my friends anymore. But you know, the people that I'm around now, they're positive. They're involved with the community and everything like that. And it's you lose one thing, you gain something better.
Absolutely, brother. And every level has a devil. Every level has a devil, man. And so, like, you know, you turn away from something, you're walking towards your destiny, towards your better life. You're every time you walk away from something that's bad for you, you know, you walk towards something that is gonna make your life better in the instant, you know. And so that's awesome, man. That it worked for you, man. I mean, being aggressive about it, because you know, I'm from Colombia, and you had to be aggressive about things down there. My upbringing was aggressive, you know, and you live with it and everything. But if that's what worked for you, man, that way people know that this is something that you don't cross, you know, and and even with yourself, I guess, huh? I mean, being aggressive,
Yeah.
like, you know, this is not happening.
Yeah. And, you know, and one thing I learned too is that, you know, if you stand your ground and you're firm in what you believe in, and you let somebody know how you really feel about something like that, they don't tend to bug you anymore after that. Not
Yeah,
normally. Sometimes they press it a couple times, but eventually they will give up.
right,
You know,
right.
you just gotta stay strong.
Yes, yes. And you know, it's like, you know, the people, those who are not afraid of our success are the ones who will be with us, you know, as we grow. And, you know, one of this business leader, he was telling me the story of one of his mentees. that actually changed his cell phone number and put a message in the cell phone. If you still have this number, is because you know, pretty much take off and use other language. But he said, if you don't have my new number, don't worry about it, pretty much. And so, that's, yeah, it takes that amount of stance to be able to move forward, huh?
Yeah.
And then when you you know and then in prison, when did you start seeing having other insights, like, after you realize now that you can stand up, that you can say no, that you can work out, like, what type of insights were you kind of getting at that time, or learning about yourself?
Um, I started learning that, you know, that we have, every one of us has an infinite amount of possibilities that we can do. We're humans, and we're in all shapes and sizes, and anybody can accomplish what they want with time, with training, with perseverance, and just working hard. Like I said, I weighed when I went to prison, I weighed 130 pounds. I weigh 190 pounds right now. I gained 60 pounds, and I worked out because I knew it was going to make myself stronger and faster and better. And, a healthy body, healthy mind, that's, I believe in that wholeheartedly, because, if you take care of yourself, yourself takes care of you. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I knew that I could be something better, like I said, and I made myself a goal, and I mean, to this day, I still follow it.
that's awesome, man. And so far, what have you achieved so far?
Um, well, so far, I've been out of prison for 30 days today.
That is
30
awesome.
days. I have networked with a lot of people, and I have shared my story on my Facebook and to numerous people. And what I've accomplished, what I feel is a lifetime's worth of work, by showing people that people have seen my change. People have seen my transformation. And a lot of people message me all the time, like, "Oh, you're so inspiring. You've really motivated me to do better." A couple friends that I know have asked me, for advice on, what they can do to better themselves. And there's some people that I've met with and spoken to that are starting to exercise now. They're starting to eat healthier. Some have quit smoking cigarettes, and, everybody's, the people that I've been in contact with are wanting to make a change and are changing themselves. And right now, to me, that I feel like I've accomplished a lot with that. A lot. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, and it makes me feel good. And when I see people motivated like that and making the change themselves, it inspires me to keep pushing myself forward, and and doing way better than if I can do better than I was doing yesterday, then I'm doing better.
Right on, brother. Absolutely, man. If we were gonna see the Robert, if I was walking down the street and I saw the Robert of today and the Robert of before, how is he different, man?
Not even the same person. It's not the same person. They aren't even on the same planet together. There's there's people that have seen me that I have known for 15 years that see me today, and they're like, "Who are you?" And I say, "Well, it's me, Rob Butler." And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's you. I don't look anything like I did, even 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it makes me feel really good to know that, I've transformed into this, this person I am now. And it's awesome. It's a great feeling. And a friend of mine who's battling addiction himself asked me the other day, and it really made me think. And he asked me, he goes, Robert, he goes, what does it feel like to really laugh?
Huh.
And I had to think about it, and I looked at him, I said, what do you mean? He goes, what does it feel like to really enjoy laughing?
Wow.
And it kind of hit hard because I can really enjoy that now. I can enjoy everything that I do. I'm 100%. I have myself 100%. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I hardly eat any sweets. I eat healthy as I can, and I work out all the time. And I'm a different person. Like I'm nowhere near the person I was a few years ago.
That is so cool, man. That's great, man. I mean, props to you. Props to you, man. That's awesome. All the change that you've done, and it's great. Robert, if we were watching a movie about your life, at what point in that movie we would say, shit?
Oh, I'd say maybe every other 5 minutes in the movie, you're gonna say, "Oh shit." uh, it's I've lived 1,000 lifetimes. I really have, and
Bad, man.
there's there's all kinds of moments, but the biggest, I would say, there's two big moments. The first one was when I was at absolute rock bottom, and I had a standoff with police here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and it was really intense. It was scary. I didn't know whether I was gonna be, I didn't know if I was gonna be shot at by the police. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was under the influence, and it thankfully the police handled the situation, very proper, and I eventually at a point, gave in and allowed them to arrest me, and that was a big wow point for me to have an entire police force, block off streets surrounding me, guns in my face, and it was, that was the wow point of my rock bottom. But the wow point for me now, I would say, is the day I walked out of prison. Because when I walked out of those front doors, I knew that was the starting point of my new life. It wasn't a new chapter, it was a whole new book altogether. And I really, at that point, if you could read inside my head,
Right.
you would know what that was the wow, that this is where it all begins.
That's powerful, brother. That's awesome. That is powerful. That is powerful.
Thank you.
That's great, man. Wow, that's two powerful moments, man. I would say, oh shit, you know? If I was watching a movie. Um, that's great, man. That's great. What is next for Robert? For the new Robert? What's next?
what's next is I'm going to keep on the path that I'm on. And it might be, you know, a small path, but it's something I'm going to continue on. I'm going to keep inspiring other people. I'm actually working on my certification to be a personal trainer.
Awesome.
And yeah,
Awesome.
and hopefully I'll have that here very soon.
Awesome,
And
man.
I'm going to start working with individuals one-on-one with, you know, personal training, and, you know, eventually work up the knowledge and skills to, you know, really help everybody with their nutrition. And I also want to help with people with physical disabilities, because I myself, back in 2016, I snapped my right humerus in half on a spiral fracture.
Mm-hmm.
I had a plate and 13 screws installed into my right arm, and I had to overcome that adversity too. The doctors said I would never be able to press more than 100 pounds, but I'm pressing over 300 right now.
There you go,
So,
brother.
and I believe in my heart that anybody with a disability can overcome some obstacles. I know some disabilities are, you know, extremely hard to overcome, but anything can be worked with. And we're humans. We have amazing bodies. We heal ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we live. We live. And I know for a fact that we can do what we want to do. It's all up to us. So I want to show everybody, you know, in time, that it can happen and that they can make those changes, you know. And everybody with addiction problems, you know, I want them to know that there's hope and that they can get past it. They can, and they will if they want. There's no problem in asking for help. I want to be the one to help them.
Awesome. Awesome, Robert. Robert, if we were looking, if you were gonna look back to your life, right? And were there things that now looking back, now knowing what you know, were there points, you know, points in your life as a young man, as a kid even, were there things that happened to you or you experienced that in some way contributed, that you think that contributed to this, to what you've, you know, to the past Robert that we're talking, to creating those habits that are so self-destructive? And
Yeah, I mean, everything in the past leads up to this point. You know, I grew up in kind of a, you know, an on and off home. My dad was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and that probably contributed to a lot of, you know, my addictive behaviors in the past. And, you know, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon by any means, and, you know, barely grew up with a solid steel one. But those the life that I have lived up until now has made me who I am. Everything that I've experienced in my life is experience.
right,
And I know what it's like. I know what it's all about. And if anybody would ask me if I'd change anything, I wouldn't.
right.
I
That's
wouldn't
what.
change anything, because even though it was hard and at a lot of times it felt like hell, I'm happy now.
Right on, man. Right on. And so next year you're getting your certificate to be a personal trainer and helping people overcome disabilities. And if there was any, you know, a lot of the people who watch this ends up being people that help other people overcome some type of hardship, or like what you're talking about, even just a goal. That, like, if somebody has a physical disability, they might not be able to overcome everything, but one goal that they have, and when you help them through that, they can see, and then they do something else, and so, which is great. Is there anything that you would tell a healthcare provider or even a drug addict right now, is there anything that you would tell? There is a bunch of pain out there, as you know, and is there anything that you would tell them, man?
Um, I would tell them that it's not, don't be afraid to ask for help, because some people, drug addicts especially, in my experience, they believe that they can do it on their own and that they're afraid to ask for help. Some people can do it alone and some people don't need help. But to have somebody that supports you and to know that there's somebody that will encourage you and help keep you motivated, it means it's a big world of difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so everybody out there that needs it, don't be afraid to ask, because, you know, strong people will ask for help.
Yeah.
It's not weakness by any means.
Yeah. Yeah. And you showing us how strong you are when you told that judge, "Hey, man, let's do this."
Yeah.
That's
Yes, I
awesome.
did.
That's awesome. Hey, Robert, it was awesome chatting with you, man, and I look forward to seeing you. You know, maybe inviting you to a program next year and seeing how you're doing and learning about. I'm sure you're gonna do all kinds of awesome stuff this next year. So
Oh
it's
yeah, absolutely.
so that would be awesome to chat back with you in a year and see how you're doing and follow all your amazing progress, man, and all the thousands of people you're gonna help, man. You've already helped.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's
that'd be
great.
great.
That's great. That's great. Awesome, Robert. So until next time.